Greetings. So, I'm in my room today, which is fine because this is kind of a dungeon kind of video what we're doing anyways. So my top 10 favorite of all time, and I've been asked to discuss my favorite of all time. Now, I'm going to say this right now. My favorite wrestlers are not going to match up with a lot of other people. You're not going to see the Ultimate Warrior. You're not going to see Hulk Hogan. You're not going to see John Cena. You're not going to see Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Undertaker. So yeah, my top 10 list is going to be a little different from most. And I want to say this too. I really wish I could put Chris Benoit on this list because when he was champ, man, I love the guy. But obviously I can't put him on the list. Number 10. Let's hope this all works. I'm really squashed in this room right now. Number 10. Go with Mick Foley. When his music hits, I always kind of mark out that first time when he's back, and then within a few weeks, I'm like, because I know nothing's going to happen. He can't take any physicality or anything, so. Number 9. This is only because he hasn't wrestled as much as the other guys on the list. I don't have as much love for Shinsuke Nakamura as I would otherwise. The fact he's on the list at all says a lot. Shinsuke is one of the best wrestlers I've seen, and yet I'm worried that on the main roster, because he's smaller, they'll just job him over a lot. And what I saw live with him against Jinder Mahal doesn't make me feel better about that prediction. Jinder won't be on this list either. Neither will Brock Lesnar. Number 8. Kevin Nash, but I'm going to do it this way. / Diesel. Because I liked him best when he was Diesel. I liked him best when he was champ. I liked him best when he talked a lot less. When he went to WCW and he's all smart-assy and there was no constraints on him whatsoever, I thought he was really obnoxious and hard to cheer for or against. I just wanted him to shut up. Razor, on the other hand, he's not on the list. Scott Hall, I felt, got more entertaining in WCW than he was in WWE. But I thought the opposite was true for Nash. I was like, wow, he's over the top. Just somebody's got to shut him up. Number 7, and this is where it starts to get tough because I'm picking my personal favorites. The best promo in the business was Jake the Snake Roberts. Now, if you watch Botchamania, you'll see promos he did while he was clearly inebriated. But when he was sober and when he was good, when he was on, nobody could be more menacing and make you hate him while he didn't raise his voice. See, Bray Wyatt gets you know what? I'm going to put him in as 11th. Bray Wyatt, I give credit in terms of he has picked up a lot from Jake the Snake Roberts. He really has. Doesn't raise his voice. Not very often. If he does, it's something major. The problem is, much like Jake, he loses every feud he's in. Jake the Snake Roberts never won a feud. He lost all the time. And the difference is, back in the 80s, there wasn't an internet community to sit and complain about it, because Jake the Snake Roberts lost all the time, and he never won any title. So while I agree that Bray Wyatt getting hot-shotted to the title and then losing it right away sucks, and they've made Bray Wyatt look like he's not a threat, yeah, Jake the Snake was the same thing back in the day. Number 6. I gotta cross Jake off. See, this is where it gets really hard. Number 6, I'm going to go back with a Kevin again. Kevin Owens. Owens is fantastic. Owens is fantastic on Twitter, on everything. And in the ring, he's awesome to watch. And he's fun. When I saw him in Vancouver, he was able to play to the crowd and play a face while he was still a heel in the ring, and it didn't seem off-putting. It didn't seem like he was selling out or anything. He didn't have to change anything. And he's really solid. He's a really solid wrestler. And he's a guy that you feel like in a bar could legit take somebody out. That he would get up in somebody's face and that person would back down. Number 5, and I realize I'm going to run out of the room before the top here. I'm going to have to go over and then around. So if you come in halfway through this video, you're going to regret it. Number 5. He would have been number 1 at one point. Bret Hart now is number 5. The Hitman, Calgary Hitman named after him. Bret Hart absolutely, hands down, probably the best technical wrestler I ever saw in the ring. On the women's side, though, Becky Lynch is right up there too. And I will get into my favorite female wrestlers. I thought about putting females on the list, but honestly, they should be separate, the male and the female. So this is my male side in terms of my favorite wrestlers. We'll get into female wrestlers later. But for me, Bret Hart, probably the best technical wrestler, and I really like the guy. And then something, just his personality, there were some things I saw after that I'm like, I don't know. And then when he went to WCW, it was just a disaster. Just a disaster. And then, I don't know. He drops for me based on a lot of things that have happened since the Montreal Screwjob. At the time of the Montreal Screwjob, he was absolutely my favorite. I screamed and yelled. I was so angry. So angry. Number 4. So I'll put 4, 3, 2, 1. We good on that? No? Well, it doesn't matter. It's my video. You're talking to your screen. You shouldn't do that. Number 4. This will probably be considered sacrilege. The Rock. The Rock cuts a fantastic promo. He was never great in the ring. And this is why when people say, oh, so-and-so's, he's crap in the ring, so he shouldn't be a champ. Are you kidding me? The Rock could wrestle 30 minutes. The Rock could do all kinds of slams and suplexes, but in terms of some of the moves that other guys can do, he didn't do them. His moveset was very simple, and it was simple because he knew what got crowd reactions, so he would do the moves that got the crowd reactions. I remember the first time he dropped a people's elbow, and I was like, the hell is that? It looked stupid. And then the guy sold it, and I'm like, why are they selling this stupid elbow drop? It's just an elbow drop. Fast forward a couple of years, and every time you'd take that elbow pad off, you'd rise your feet like, here comes people's elbow. And it became something epic. He made it epic. He could make anything epic. I remember the concert he had where he sat in the ring and sang songs for the start of Raw. It was very entertaining. There's no wrestling involved. Number 3. Yeah, this gets tough. Really, really tough at this point. And I don't like doing this. Ricky Steamboat. If you're too young to remember Ricky Steamboat, I demand you go out onto the land of YouTube and look up Ricky Steamboat, Ric Flair. Their matches were classics. Their feud was fantastic. Went on for quite a while. It never got old. It was a feud that was renewed a few times. Ricky Steamboat was simply amazing, and Ricky Steamboat and Randy Savage stole WrestleMania 3. Their match was just fantastic, and it was planned out move for move by Randy Savage. So while Savage is not on this list, he's not. Credit to him for coming up move for move with the match that they came up with. It became the match of the decade on an event that was headlined by Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan. A guy who couldn't wrestle versus a guy who really at that stage couldn't move. So, and I'm not telling stories out of the ring here. Hulk Hogan, even as a little kid, drove me nuts. So that's why he's not on this list. Even as a kid, I was like, I'm not cheering for him. It's not happening. Number 2, Chris Jericho. I remember the first appearance by Chris Jericho in WWE. You know why? Chris Jericho was the only guy in WCW I really liked. And when he moved over to WWE, I stopped watching WCW that week. I was like, well, Jericho's gone. I no longer have a reason to watch this crap. I don't have to wait for Jericho to come out and lose the match and then flip out and rip the coat jacket off of the ring announcer and tear it to pieces, or pick up a chair and smack it against the post, or whatever whining he's going to do after the match. I don't have to watch as he goes by people who have signs that say Nitro is Jericho and Jericho is Nitro and get ignored. Jericho was ignored, and his feud with Goldberg that Goldberg wasn't involved in was the best feud Goldberg was never involved in. If Goldberg had not just come out and crushed Jericho, if they'd actually, and Jericho said this himself, if they'd actually built up that feud, they could have made something of Jericho. Yes, Goldberg would have won that feud in the end, but they could have made a star out of Jericho with that. And what Jericho was proposing would have been awesome. So instead, they squashed Jericho and forgot all about it. Who can forget Gilbert? Who can forget Mini Goldberg? Who can forget Greenberg? when he was calling him Greenberg, when he was getting a referee to count Goldberg out, when Goldberg wasn't in the building, and then saying, I'm 3-0 against Goldberg. Goldberg's streak is defeated. I keep defeating him every week. He's a coward. He won't face me. It was brilliant. Ralphus, his security detail, loved Ralphus. Everything Jericho touches turns to gold. Every time he debuts a new thing, like when he debuted the list, I'm like, I don't know if this is going to get over. Yep. He came out in the weird light bright jacket. I'm like, what is he doing? Yep. No matter what he does, he comes out in a lame scarf, and you're like, scarf, really? After the jacket? Yep. No matter what he does, it becomes gold, and it's entertaining. You know, I was watching a repeat of Hell in the Cell on demand yesterday, and when he's talking to Mick Foley, and Mick Foley won't do what he's telling him to, and he gets the list out, and he's like, it's really funny. You know, and Foley's like, what are you doing? Nothing. Like, it is awesome. And he can be a bad guy and entertaining at the same time, and not all bad guys are able to be entertaining at the same time. Some wrestlers can't even be entertaining at all. Some guys they're pushing right now aren't entertaining at all. I'll let you fill in the rest. And number one, you know what? I could write his name, but I'm not going to write his name. I'm going to write his handle. Stone Cold. So, Steve Austin, when he was in WCW, was forgettable. I forgot about him regularly. And Steve Austin would come out, and I'd kind of roll my eyes and go, oh, it's this guy. All right. And then the Hollywood Blondes were entertaining. But again, still, Austin to me was just a dead wood in the ring. And it's weird because you look at what he became in WWE, and when he was allowed to be himself, and he was allowed to get over. I mean, a big part of it is, when I hear, you know, the WWE's not satisfied with somebody because they're not getting over with the crowd, how about you let them win a couple of matches? It is hard to get behind somebody when you know they're going to lose every night. It is. As a fan, you see somebody come out, like, right now, look at Ty Dillinger. Ty Dillinger and his 10 gimmicks going really well. But does anybody believe he's ever going to be world champ? No. Are they going to de-push him? Absolutely. So, as a fan, once that D-push starts to happen, that crowd noise is going to drop. The 10 chants will drop. And then WWE will go, see, he's not over. You gotta figure this out. So for anybody who's not on the list, and I know people are going to be like, where's Ric Flair? He's not on the list. Where's Sting? Not on the list. If I did a top 20, Ric Flair would be on it. Sting would be on it. Savage would probably be there. But there's a lot of criminally underused talent. So look for top 10s about criminally underused talent over the last 30 years. Look for a video on top 10 females. And for anybody looking for footage, you're on YouTube, man. You're on YouTube. There's footage everywhere. Everybody has footage. Except Wrestle Talk, who I support and I highly recommend. And this is my version of a list, I guess. So, Jericho, you're number 2 on my list. Thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. And thank you for being out there. It makes it worth being in here. I'll talk to you again soon.